Welcome to yet another ham radio video. This is Jay, KQ4DUX. Got something in the mail today. We're going to do a little kit building and a simple modification on my K2 to be able to use an external amplifier. Stick around. Alright folks, we're in the workshop today. I'm going to build this little kit. So this is called the K2 TR Relay Driver Board for the Elecraft K2. And I got this from W8FGU. Dave up in Michigan, I believe. Yeah, Michigan. So Dave is a wonderful resource. If you have a K1 or a K2 and you need some parts or some work done, definitely get a hold of him. He does excellent work. He's well known in the realm of the classic line Elecraft, both for repair services and parts. So I will be building this little board. Looks pretty simple, not really a kit builder, but this shouldn't be much of a problem. I'm going to put this together off camera and build it, and then I'll show you. I'll take the cover off the K2, show you where it goes, how to connect it, and what I'm planning to do is use this. It's a MX P50M. So this is just one of the cheap little amplifiers that you see on Amazon and eBay. This came with my radio, so the guy was selling it as a package, and I got it all for a good price that would still be a good price even if it was just for the rig. I have never used it because I've never really felt the need to, but with the band conditions being a little rough this year, I thought, well, maybe I'll go ahead and spend 20 bucks and at least it will be an option for me. So I'm hoping if this is something that you're thinking about doing, this video will show you whether or not it's difficult, where it goes, and if this is something you want to attempt. I'm going to do some soldering, put this board together, give you a report, and come back in a couple minutes. Okay, so I've got the kit installed. The kit was not too bad to put together. There are no printed instructions that come with it, but there is a pretty good link online which has some nice pictures and detailed instructions on how to install it and where. This is the unit here. We're looking at the back here, and then these wires are the part that goes out to the RCA jack. It did require the removal of this back panel, which was a little tricky. Had kind of an oh crap moment when I took these. There used to be screws here. There are some little spacers. I'll show you what's in the book. The nice thing about the K2 is the manual shows you literally how to build the entire radio from a box of parts. So this is how that went, and I found out where those spacers go and the washers and so forth. And this was a kind of handy thing. I just took a Q-tip I was using to clean off the parts before I soldered them, cut them and put them in the holes to hold those spacers in place. So hopefully while I slide the screw through that, they should just pop right out and I'll be able to put the nuts on the back side. We'll get it back together and give it a try. Alright, we're set up in the park here, and I got my son Levi listening at the house. So I'm going to try it at different power levels with and without the amp and see what kind of feedback I get. KQ4UUD, this is KQ4DUX.
KQ4DUX, this is KQ4UUD.
Okay, how much power are you running now?
5 watts.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure how we're just so close. It's real loud. I'm on 4 watts, so I was gonna kick on the amp and see if it made a difference. I'm gonna turn it down to like 1 watt and see how you can hear me.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, yeah, you're still 20 over on this one. All right, I'm at 1 watt.
Yeah, you still sound pretty good.
What's the S meter?
A 5.7 to a 5.9.
Okay, well, I'm gonna put on the amp, and that should bring me up to like maybe 10 or so. Okay, so we'll sit up there. All right, how copy now, Levi? I got the amplifier on.
Sound exactly the same, just you're a little higher signal report.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it up a little bit, see if you notice. All right, now I should be like 25 or 30 watts.
Yeah, now you're like pushing over 5.9. You used to sound a little bit weird, but now you sound pretty normal.
All right, well, it seems to be working. I guess it'd be nice if it was like somebody farther away, but I'm glad to know it's working.
Okay, 93.
All right, Levi, thanks. We'll see you in a little bit. KQ4 DUX, I'm clear. Okay, well, apparently it is working, so that's a good sign. I definitely will be doing some more testing over the weekend, and maybe I can get together with someone out of state and someone willing to give me a signal report. I can go on and off and that. I did have a little bit of a problem, and I'll tell you what happened. Everybody hates to attempt, you know, new things and worry about screwing something up. So when I came out here the first time, I hit the power button. Everything was completely dead. No light, no sound, and thank goodness no magic smoke, no bad smell, so that was nice. But just kind of baffled me, and I'm like, oh man, what do I do now? But anyway, I drove back home. I did send an email to Dave, the guy that sold it, because I mean, he's a top-notch guru when it comes to those. But in the meantime, I noticed in the manual there's 2 screws that hold one of the covers that I put on. It says don't over tighten them, and I didn't crank them like as hard as I could, but I made sure they weren't going to come out. So all I had to do was loosen them maybe a quarter turn, and it came back to life and worked fine. So I'm going to be maybe looking to see what I can do about that. Apparently there is like a little tiny like foam insulator, and if you crank it down too much, it squishes that foam enough and it can make contact. So maybe I could get like a tiny O-ring or something on that screw or something else. But anyway, no disasters today, thank goodness. Would I do it again? Well, what I learned from this, the kit was fairly straightforward, and I really haven't built any kits per se, but just little things of like telling what resistors are which one. They weren't marked in the package, and I don't think they ever really are. You just have to look at the stripes on them to identify which ones are which. The board itself was clearly printed, which pieces go where, and it went together pretty well. I didn't really have any problems, other than, you know, my hands aren't quite as steady as I would hope. I'm not like a big coffee or caffeine drinker, but some of those little tiny things, trying to solder them, it was a little challenging. and you know, eyesight. I've got bifocals now, and I do have a magnifying thing and whatever, but if it wasn't for those things, you know, it wasn't like mentally really challenging or super technical, difficult to do. It was just a little annoying working with those really small parts. So if that's something that's not for you, maybe you get someone else to do it, or I know Dave does sell them assembled, so you can buy that little board assembled, and it's not very much. I think 10-15 bucks or something to buy it assembled, in addition to the cost of the kit. Or he even offers installation services, so I would imagine he could turn that around real quick. That wouldn't take that long, especially for someone that works on them all the time. So overall, we'll see how this amplifier performs, and I think it's going to be a nice thing to have, being I already had it. Talked to one guy, actually had tried to sell this amplifier, and he goes, well, that's kind of an oxymoron for QRP. The whole point is QRP. Why would I want an amp? I mean, I understand that, but some of us are a little more pragmatic, and whatever we enjoy about the hobby, when the bands are pretty rough, sometimes we want to have a little bit extra. So thanks for joining me today. There'll be more to come on this and the results I have. You watched yet another ham radio video. This is Jay, KQ4DUX. Take care, and 7-3.